Okay, we are all set. We do have a quorum.
Perfect. Sounds good. Moving on, I will ask if there's any proposed amendments to the meeting agenda. I don't believe we have any, but wanted to ask anyway.
None from staff, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Sounds good. Seeing no other ask for amendment, we'll move on to the public comment period. Do we have anybody signed up to speak today?
We did not receive any public comment.
Okay, and it doesn't look like we have anybody that joined us, so I will open and close the public comment period. The consent agenda, hopefully everybody's had a chance to review the TAC meeting minutes from July 14th, our in-person meeting, which was good to see everybody in person. I will take a motion for approval of the meeting minutes as presented.
Sharon Smidler from Rrtpo, make a motion for approval.
This is JJ with Chesterfield. I'll second.
Sounds good.
Can we get, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Can we get another second? Only because with chair and vice chair, it's more formal if we just get someone who's not a vice chair or chair. I'm sorry, JJ. I appreciate you.
Fair enough. Anybody willing?
This is Sherry.
I'll
Go ahead.
her. Go ahead, Sherry. Go ahead.
Sherry Adams, Charles City. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Sherry. All right, with that, I guess we can do this with a roll call vote. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? All right. Sounds good. All right, the TAC Chair's report. So I don't have anything formal necessarily to present other than we are finally through the Smart Scale application process. So we can all give ourselves a pat on the back. And now we await OIP and VDOT District to get us back what's wrong with everything, and then we'll make adjustments from there. So we'll look forward to that. But I know we're certainly happy to be beyond the application process. Let's see. Number 7 on the agenda is the draft conformity public review. I'll turn it over to Will for a presentation on that.
All right. Okay, just checking. Everyone can see my screen, correct? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. I'm starting off today by bringing you the updated draft of the FY27 30 TIP and 2050 LRTP Regional Conformity Assessment. So as part of developing the FY27 30 TIP and the 2050 LRTP, federal law does require that our transportation projects demonstrate conformity with the Clean Air Act. And although the Richmond-Petersburg region currently does meet emission standards, it previously was designated as a non-attainment area and then a maintenance area for the 1997 8-hour ozone standards. So in 2018, a court decision outlined that regions with a history of non-attainment must continue making conformity determinations even after meeting the newer emission standards. So the conformity analysis includes projects within the 8-hour ozone maintenance area that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. And it is made up of projects from the Connect RVA 2050 constrained plan list and ungrouped projects from the amended draft FY27 30 TIP. The TPO Policy Board approved the amended draft of the 2730 TIP project list at their July 2nd meeting. So the draft conformity report was approved at the interagency consultation group meeting held last Tuesday, August 7th. And then pending TAC approval today, the draft report will be released for a 30-day public comment period on August 17th, which will run through September 18th. So my request today is that the TAC reviews and update the updated draft regional conformity assessment and authorizes it for public review as authorized by the Rrtpo Policy Board. And if anybody has any questions, I would be happy to take them.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Will on the presentation? Oh, seeing none. Fantastic. Thank you, Will. Let's see. Looks like you're up again. Item number 8 on the agenda, FY24 to 27 TIP amendment.
Mr. Chair, we do need a motion and a vote on that item.
I'm sorry. Yes, it is an action item. I apologize. With that, do I have a motion for approval of the draft conformity public review?
This is Sharon Smidler with Rrtpo. I make a motion. I'm trying to remember what Bill had on the screen. For approval and to open public comment on the conformity. or whatever the motion was that Will had on the screen before. Thank you.
I'll second that, assuming that we get the appropriate clarity.
Thank you.
Can we
This is
just throw that on the
City.
screen real quick, just to be
Absolutely.
sure we're, thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, let me try this again.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion for for the regional conformity assessment and authorize public review of the draft regional conformity assessment as authorized by the TPO board.
And I will second that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, on this, I will ask Ms. Cruz to call the roll.
Okay. Town of Ashland, Ms. Mertz Gwen.
Aye.
Charles City County, Ms. Adams.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Vice Chair Banuelos.
Aye.
Goochland County, Chair Goin.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Vidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, Ms. Smidler.
Aye.
New Kent County, Ms. Inman.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
CBTA, Mr. Parsons.
Aye.
GRTC, Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Ride Finders, Mr. O'Keefe.
Aye.
And VDOT, Ms. Sidemock.
Aye.
Okay. None opposed.
Fantastic. Okay. Now we can move on to item number 8, which I believe is Will again, the FY24-27 TIP amendment.
All right, thank you again. So this is my last item for you today. This existing project comes from a successful Smart Scale Round 2 bid by Henrico County. This amendment is being requested by VDOT, and it will update funding for the southern segment of the existing Richmond-Henrico Turnpike project. So this project will provide congestion mitigation and add bike and ped facilities, as well as make intersection improvements along the southern segment of the Richmond-Henrico Turnpike between Laburnum Avenue and Hummingbird Road. The existing 2-lane segments of the roadway will be widened to a 4-lane divided roadway, and a shared use path will be constructed on the eastern side of the road, and sidewalks will be added to the western side of the road. So here we have the tip block for the project as provided to us by VDOT. And our request today is that the TAC recommends approval of the proposed tip amendment as requested by VDOT. And again, I'd be happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the proposed tip amendment? Going once? All right, sounds good. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Sharon Smidler with Henrico. I make a motion to approve the proposed tip amendment for Richmond Henrico Turnpike in coordination with VDOT. Thank you.
All right. We have a
It's Joe
second.
Vidunas, I'll
Wagner,
second.
second it.
All right, I heard a couple. I'll take Joe. I think he chimed in first, so I'll let Joe be on that one. All right, have a motion properly seconded. Ms. Cruz, if you don't mind calling the roll again.
Town of Ashland, Ms. Mertz Gwen. I see she's on mute. We can come back.
Aye.
Charles. Oh, great. Thank you. Charles City County, Ms. Adams.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Vice Chair Banuelos.
Aye.
Goochland County, Chair Goin.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Vidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, Ms. Smidler.
Aye.
New Kent County, Ms. Inman.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
CBTA, Mr. Parsons.
Aye.
GRTC, Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Ride Finders, Mr. O'Keefe.
Aye.
And VDOT, Ms. Sidemock.
All right.
Did I hear her?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, great. Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I think
Okay.
I heard you.
No,
and then
you're
I
so good.
second
Thanks.
guessed myself. Okay. All voted in favor.
All right, thank you. Moving on to number 9, Miles, looks like you're up for an existing project request.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is a request for additional funding for the Deepwater Terminal Road Extension project located in the city of Richmond. Little bit of background on the project. This is essentially a 0.7 of a mile extension of Deepwater Terminal Road. It's going to connect Goods Road up at the north off of Commerce down under I-95 all the way down to the existing terminus of Deepwater Terminal Road. The goal is to provide additional access to the port, and it's going to increase the vertical clearance under the interstate, so you're going to be able to get bigger trucks moving through there. This is a legacy project of the MPO, so this has been in our program since fiscal year 14, so since 2013. It started with 2 separate UPCs. There was an MPO project, there was a revenue sharing project. In 2019, those 2 were merged together to create the current UPC that we have. And this project's gone through development over the past 8 years. It was advertised and the bids came in higher than the engineer's estimate. So the city is requesting additional funding to come back and address that deficit and be able to kind of knock this project out, get us into construction. For context, here's kind of the more or less the alignment of this project. So there's a dirt road. I think it's a Vulcan property up there. So this is kind of along that alignment where this is proposed. And then here is sort of the overview of the funding and where we are today. So when the project was first selected, the total estimate when it was baselined in 2019 emerged was about $4.5 million. Over the past 8 years, the cost has increased pretty significantly. So the latest estimate is about $11.8 million, which is 262% or so of that baseline, which does outpace inflation. So there's been a little bit more than just inflationary pressures on this project. The Rrtpo, as you can see by the red line, has covered the majority of this cost increase. So about 93% of the cost increase to date has been covered by the MPO. The latest request is for an additional $2.1 million, which would take that up to about 98% of the overall cost increase over the past 8 years. And so a little bit on the policy framework. The framework does allow these off-cycle requests specifically for the construction phase when we get bids and they come in high, because it is important to go ahead and get those awarded if it's reasonable. However, the policy does also require localities to find other funding first, if at all possible. So the MPO should be the last resort when the projects come in high. In recent years, TAC has been pretty consistent when these off-cycle requests come in at recommending a split, with the locality covering a portion of it, the MPO covering a portion. And so the request today is for TAC to review this request for the $2.1 million and provide a recommendation. Staff's recommendation is to cover no more than 50%. Given that long history of cost increases and the fact that the MPO has covered nearly all of it, we think it's appropriate for this to be a situation where we split it between the MPO and the locality. The second part of this, and you all may recall this maybe a year or 2 ago, we added the cost waiver requirements that if a project's cost goes up more than 50%, there are select categories that are eligible to continue receiving additional MPO funding. This, as a legacy project that's been in our program for more than a decade, would qualify. So the recommendation is if TAC has a finding for some funding, we also need to make a finding that this is eligible for that legacy project waiver. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I know Daniel's ready to answer more questions about the project as well.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the presentation?
So,
I see Sharon raise her hand. Sharon, go ahead.
yeah, no specific questions. I agree with staff's recommendation about meeting halfway, kind of the 50-50 And it makes sense to me to treat it as a legacy project with the
Mhm.
waiver.
Thank you. I do have one question for the city is, the cost increases are beyond inflationary pace. Can you provide a quick rundown of some of the reasons as to how we got to where we're at with the 11.8 million?
Yeah, happy to. We've been working with VDOT on this project for quite some time, just to keep it moving. As Miles mentioned, we entered into a revenue sharing agreement with them in order to keep it moving. And at this point, we've gotten through the right of way and the PE phases, and the bids just came in significantly higher than expected. So above and beyond, it's about an 8.3 million was the lowest bidder, and we had estimated that it would be around 6. We all know that that's happening quite a bit now because of construction costs being overinflated in recent years. But this just feels like a really appropriate thing for the region to fund, simply because the port is such an economic engine. And I appreciate the staff report and the recommendation, but we wanted to ask for the full request simply because of how much of a catalyst the port is for the region. So we don't really view this as just a Richmond project, even though it is within the city. It's a project that'll benefit all of our localities. But I appreciate Miles's very thorough overview. Thank you for that, for framing the conversation.
Thank you. It's helpful. Any other questions for staff or the city at this point? If not, I'll be happy to entertain a motion. JJ?
Yeah, I just had a question because I'm hearing that there's revenue sharing funds on the project. So is that roughly how much of the project is that, since it's a 50-50 split with the state? And
Sorry, let me pull those numbers up again. Apologies, I've got too many tabs open, it seems.
Daniel, I have it if you need.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
Um,
Miles.
Yeah, it's 2,250,000.
Any other questions? I think part of what under my consideration on this has been is the precedent we've kind of set in the past with 50-50 splits, understanding it is a regional project insofar as it is the terminal. But I do think there's some credence to the precedent we've set before with 50-50 splits. So I think, Goochland may lean that direction. But unless there's any other questions, I'll be happy to entertain a motion on this particular request.
This is Sharon Smidler with Rrtpo. I make a motion for additional funding of the 50% deficit, approximately the 1 million, be covered by TPO, and that we recommend this be found eligible for the legacy project waiver.
Do I have a second?
This is Joe Bidunas. I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Cruz, if you wouldn't mind calling the roll.
Town of Ashland, Ms. Mertz Gwen.
Aye.
Charles City County, Ms. Adams.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Vice Chair Benuelos.
aye.
Goochland County, Chair Goin.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Vidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, Ms. Smidler.
Aye.
New Kent County, Ms. Inman.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
CVTA, Mr. Parsons.
Aye.
GRTC, Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Ride Finders, Mr. O'Keefe.
Aye.
And VDOT, Ms. Sidemock. Okay. All in favor.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see. Item number 10, the road safety assessment pilot corridor selection. Dan, I believe, is going to give us a presentation on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. So as Miles previewed last month, when we walked through the FY27 work program, one of the decisions TAC will help shape this year is how we approach roadway safety assessments going forward. So today I'd just like to spend a few minutes framing that decision and then open it up for discussion on which corridor that we should evaluate for inclusion in a regional RSA pilot. So just to clarify, we're just looking at a corridor, a wider corridor today, and not a specific segment of that corridor that would be part of the RSA pilot. So a quick refresher first, the regional safety plan lays out 6 actions. So a regional street design manual, regional RSA program that we're looking at today, a quick build library with a kit of parts, implementation of quick build projects, complementary safety action plans, and ongoing tracking to keep safety a regional priority. So today's conversation obviously sits squarely in Action 2, the RSA program, but it's just worth seeing how this all fits together because the pilot corridor that we choose becomes the first real test for all of this and this whole framework. This just shows how the RSA program identifies the where and why, and this is the diagnostic step that feeds everything downstream. So why a regional RSA program? Right now, RSAs are used inconsistently across the region. Some jurisdictions do them more regularly, others rarely. And there's a limited integration of community knowledge and broader demographic analysis when they're done. The RSA action from Safe by Design establishes a coordinated regional RSA program within the Rrtpo's work program. And location prioritization draws on the high injury network, demographic and health overlays, and community reported concerns. What we're building towards is a recurring multi-jurisdictional RSA program with clear protocols and interdisciplinary teams, engineers, planners, law enforcement, and community voices at the table. Findings generate a pipeline of tiered recommendations, some feeding directly into the quick build program, as discussed earlier, and others feed into longer range capital planning and funding applications. And everything lands in a public repository so the work stays visible. This graphic taken from the safety plan just shows that the RSA task flow. So task 2.1 is what we're beginning to do now, while laying the groundwork for subsequent tasks. That brings us to the broader list of candidates. These are named corridors derived from the high injury network, supported by crash hotspot data, community identified concerns, and multi-jurisdictional continuity. The multi-jurisdictional piece being especially important because a regional program should add value where a corridor crosses jurisdictional lines. Exact RSA limits will be refined in coordination with TAC and their respective localities. But so again, what we're asking today is just which corridor, not which specific segment. So we've narrowed down this list to 8 candidates, and I'll move through these quickly. And for each, I'll just note the overall crash picture and what's already programmed or studied there, and just given that background information because we're not trying to duplicate existing work. So the first one is the Staples Mill corridor, 24.8 miles through Richmond, Henrico, and Hanover, with over 1,400 crashes, including 1,300 fatalities. This corridor has existing work, including a STAR study covering Staples Mill from Glenside Drive to Broad Street back in 2020, and Staples Mill Road Improvements Project, which is in preliminary engineering now. So an RSA here could target the segments that those efforts don't reach. Mechanicsville Turnpike, 16.9 miles, also spanning Richmond, Henrico, and Hanover, with over 1,600 crashes, nearly 97 per mile, and 29 pedestrian crashes, which is the second highest of any candidate. No STAR study exists here, which is worth noting. On the project side, road widening at Lee Davis Road wrapped construction last year, and a shared use path from Laburnum to the city line is programmed but not yet scheduled. The pedestrian crash pattern along that planned path makes this corridor a strong fit for walking focused field reviews later on. Patterson, 8.4 miles in Henrico and Goochland, 606 crashes, lower severity overall, no STAR study. The major intersection project at Parham was completed in 2022, and a sidewalk segment near Horsepen is moving forward. So the remaining need here is more diffuse along the whole corridor. Huguenot Courthouse corridor, 18.2 miles across Henrico, Richmond, and Chesterfield, almost 1,400 crashes, but the lowest fatality rate of the group. This corridor is the most recently studied. The North Courthouse Road study in Chesterfield was just completed in November 2024, so there's a fresh set of recommendations already on the table for the area roughly between Midlothian and Hull Street Road. Anderson Midlothian is the longest corridor candidate, 37.5 miles through Richmond, Chesterfield, and Powhatan, with over 3,700 crashes, 20 fatalities, and 48 pedestrian crashes, which is the most of any corridor. It's also the most heavily programmed. 2 STAR studies covered Midlothian from Walmart Way through Powhite to Arcadia, and there's a deep bench of smart scale projects. So the question here is whether an RSA adds any new insights or whether the pipeline is already full on this corridor. Broad Rock Iron Bridge, 24.6 miles in Richmond and Chesterfield, over 2,900 crashes, 17 fatalities, 33 pedestrian crashes, and the second highest crash density at nearly 119 per mile. The STARS Iron Bridge Road study is ongoing right now, and the Route 10 widenings through the 288 interchange area finished in 2024. So an RSA here could be sequenced to complement the STARS work. Wanted to include Roxbury. This is kind of an outlier. 12.5 rural miles in Charles City and New Kent. Only 86 crashes, but a 3.5% fatal crash share, which is by far the highest proportion in the group. A Route 106 corridor study is currently underway here, though. And then finally, Arthur Ashe Hermitage, just 4.3 miles in Richmond and Henrico, but 731 crashes, 170 per mile, which is the highest density on the list, plus the highest fatality rate per mile, and 15 pedestrian crashes in a short, relatively largely walkable area. So 2 stars efforts are ongoing here. The Diamond District Interchange Access Report and the Bryan Park Interchange Study. Both largely focus on the interstate system, though, so a street-level RSA on the surface network could fill a genuine gap where those 2 projects work forward. So I can go back to any of those slides if needed, but just to frame the discussion, we want to know which corridor should be evaluated for inclusion in the RSA pilot. And again, we're just looking at the corridor right now and not the specific smaller segment. So a few lenses here just might help. First, the need, where are the crash numbers and severity pointing? Second, complementary gaps. Where does an RSA add something that previous studies and projects aren't covering? Third, readiness. Where is their local appetite to act on findings, whether through a quick build or future funding application? And fourth, the regional case. Does the pilot demonstrate multi-jurisdictional value? And again, not to belabor the point, but we're just choosing the wider corridor, not the final limits, and the specific segment will be refined in coordination with TAC and the affected localities. So with that, I'll stop and open it up. Just interested in your reactions to these candidates, any local context that we should weigh that was missed, and whether members see a corridor where their jurisdictions would want to partner on the pilot.
All right, thank you. Sharon, I already see your hand. Go ahead.
And I don't have answers to all Dan's questions, but I just wanted to provide some additional information about those corridors, at least for Henrico. You mentioned Staples Mill Road. We do have a locally funded project to put in, even though it's VDOT maintained roadway, pedestrian signals and crosswalks that are not part of the other VDOT administered project. So I can put the web page in the chat, but there are 9 intersections we are looking at and adding crosswalks and ped signals, and we're in the right-of-way phase right now. Regarding Patterson, it wasn't a STAR study, but there was a pipeline study that Rrtpo did. So I just wanted to make sure you had record of that. And we've used part of that pipeline study to apply for STBG. It didn't work out this round, but we used that pipeline study to apply for smart scale funds for some sidewalk along there. Yeah, so those were just a few things I wanted to add. And one question, when you were mentioning Arthur Ashe and Hermitage, I saw the crash locations kind of extending up. It looked like to Lakeside, to cross Dumbarton, because I think it turns to Lakeside Avenue, maybe after 95 or after north of Bryant Park. Were you still just kind of staying more in this, in the city limits and not going north into Henrico with this option? I just wanted to clarify the potential limits.
Yeah, the names, we just kind of included 1 or 2 of the names for the roadways, so it doesn't quite include all of them. It makes more sense to call it Arthur Ashe to Lakeside, since it terminates at Lakeside. But
okay. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of good things listed in here. I'm interested to hear what others have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I'll ask one clarifying question. The goal today is to essentially narrow it down to a single corridor. Is that the desired outcome?
Yes, correct. So if there's a strong consensus towards that, we can move forward with that corridor. And if not, we can. We do have a interactive map that shows all the different studies and projects associated with each corridor that I can share out if anyone's interested in that.
No, thank you. Amy, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, great. Thank you, Austin. Dan, do you happen to have a spreadsheet or something that just sort of summarizes the statistics for each of the corridors? So we have a little better reference point to make a
Yes,
decision.
so-
There's nothing in the agenda that I can see that has this information to kind of refer back to.
Oh, yes.
Maybe it's there,
so
but I don't.
to clarify, pretty much just like kind of showing this information and like the different studies that are mentioned.
Well, yeah, just the statistics of, you know, each corridor, so we can sort of compare them a little easier.
I can put that together and send it out afterwards with the interactive map. Is no problem.
Okay. But we haven't seen this before. Am I correct?
Mhm.
This is the first time
Not all of this information
to make a
no.
decision. I'm just trying to make a decision, right? I don't think I have enough information right now to be able to make an informed decision on each of the corridors, right? So I need to have a little more information so I can look at each of the corridors and be able to provide proper input.
Yeah, that makes sense. Happy to put together something a little bit more substantial. But also this will be kind of more of a ongoing conversation. So in the next TAC meeting, we're planning to come back and talk about this a little bit more. So whether that's talking about the specific segment on the corridor or just kind of coming back to the corridors itself and figuring out where we want to move forward, that's an ongoing discussion as well. But happy to get statistics to you.
Mr. Chair, if I could just clarify, this is just a discussion item for today. We aren't asking for a formal vote from TAC. We were just hoping to get we were just hoping to get some input if there was any like quick gut reaction here. But if not, again, this will be ongoing discussion as Dan mentioned.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were looking for a decision on the corridor. Okay. Thank you.
No, that's helpful. Because I was with Amy, I was going to ask if we could take a month or so to digest everything and kind of take action next month if we had to do so. If you don't mind going back to the Patterson image, because that does stretch into Goochland County. The only thing I want to make, and it's of course on the far western end of the segment there, we're hoping to begin looking at the intersections of Patterson and West Creek Parkway, because we call them the on and off ramps to West Creek Parkway provide terrible sight lines. Specifically the off ramps from West Creek onto westbound Route 6. They're skewed to something like a 60 or 50 degree angle where you, even with an able-bodied person, you can't turn around as far as you need to see the traffic, plus the speeds are a concern. So that's something that the county's already interested in. It's not necessarily a pitch for this to be the particular corridor in question, but it's something I want Plan RVA folks to be aware of, is that something that we're paying attention to.
Good to know.
Any other, oh, sorry, I just saw a hand go up. Is that Naomi?
Yeah. I did have some knee-jerk reactions, so I thought I'd just share those.
Feel free.
So Mechanicsville Turnpike sounded like there aren't any studies going on there right now. So that was definitely one of the ones that seemed like it could use some attention. And then Arthur Ashe, when he talked about that one, there are a couple studies, but like you mentioned, they're very interstate focused. And I think you mentioned it has like the highest % crash rate or something like that. So that seemed of interest as well. Those are my two just gut reactions.
Thank you. JJ?
Yeah, just wanted to echo the sentiment that having that summary of the information to have side by side to compare would be very helpful. But knee-jerk reaction too would also be Mechanicsville Turnpike corridor, and then the Anderson Midlothian. It spans a couple jurisdictions and seems like there are some issues we could address on both of those.
Anybody else have any thoughts on what's been presented? I think it sounds like we're definitely going to have some time to digest kind of what's going on, and maybe have some more discussion next month on the study and kind of which corridor we're going to choose. I do think, and remind me, Dan, the date time frame here of the crash analysis.
For the crash analysis or the overall RSA?
The crash data you pulled, what's the time frame on that?
It's this is the most recent 5-year data.
Okay.
So through through March 31st of this year.
Okay.
But yes, so I'm happy to put together a little bit more statistics and comparison report for all of these, along with the interactive map. So just be on the lookout for that after this meeting.
No, I think that'd be very helpful in our kind of thought process and how we're going to kind of come together as a group and decide which corridor we need to drill down a little bit on. So I appreciate you putting everything together, and I look forward to talking more about it, I guess, next month.
Yep.
All right. Any last questions for Dan? All right. Thank you, Dan. All right, Miles, looks like you're up for a FY27 work program update.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As we mentioned last month, we are going to be providing monthly updates since we're going to be putting together monthly work status reports. It's easier for us to do this. So I just wanted to provide a high-level update on some of the major things that have happened in July with the MPO's program. So just as a reminder, we talked about this last month, but there's 14 tasks with 26 primary deliverables, and we are doing that monthly reporting now. So that's where I'm just trying to keep you guys in the loop as well if you can't make the TPO meetings. So a few of the major milestones from July. On the planning front, I hope you're all aware already, but the draft LRTP has been released for public review, and that runs through the end of this month through the 30th. So that has been a multi-year effort with the advisory work group, which most of you are on, and we are trying to get that across the finish line. September 10th is the scheduled adoption date for the LRTP. You just saw Dan's RSA corridors analysis. A couple other items on the bike western spine 3-notched alignment. There have been ongoing locality meetings over the past month, really trying to iron out which of the corridors, since we had quite a few, trying to narrow it down to a smaller subset for the final analysis. And that's been making a lot of progress over the past month. And there's, I think, the next sets of meetings over the next couple weeks as well. And then the other big thing is the socioeconomic data development. So the draft data for 2025 was wrapped up in July. You should, or whoever from your locality is on that work group, should have received the draft of that. So that is under review now by the work group, taking feedback and input on that. Again, that is an input to the travel demand model. So this is for an update to our travel demand model, a new base year. On the funding front, I think I heard SmartScale mentioned already, but we got all of ours submitted. A couple of them came in August, but for the most part, they were all submitted in July. So again, just wanted to thank everyone who's on this call who was helping with those applications, with the localities, VDOT, DRPT. It was a relatively smooth process for us this time around. Not too many last-minute panic calls, so I appreciate all the help. The other big thing is we had the P-Quad presentation, the prioritization process. We did send out a survey. We had a few responses come back in, so thank you to everyone who filled that out. But we are folding that into our lit review, and that's wrapping up right now. And then just last couple items. On the administrative front, we published our FY26 annual engagement report. So basically every year we publish a summary of what our outreach efforts achieved. How many people were we able to talk to? How many events did we get to? What was the social media and comments received? Kind of just an overview of how we've been doing so we can track our progress and make sure that we are getting the input from the community that we need to make good decisions. So that has been published, and we will share the link to that after the meeting, as well as the ongoing LRTP engagement opportunity. The other big thing, and I just put it on here because this isn't going to come to TAC before it goes to the policy board. We did receive a request from GRTC to add the North-South TOD study to, there's an other study section of our work program. So it's projects that aren't moving forward with MPO dollars. MPO staff isn't leading it, but it's other regional studies that, depending on the federal grant, sometimes need to be listed in the work program. So we'll be moving that one forward at the September policy board. Again, it doesn't have any impact to the MPO's work program. It's just making sure we're checking the box for that federal requirement. So that's kind of a high level overview of the things we did in July. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about anything in particular. And as I mentioned last month, if there are any items that you are specifically interested in, please email me so we can make sure we cover those in the monthly updates.
All right, thank you, Miles. And Amy, before I call on you, I will do two things. One, highlight the 3-notch trail study that's going on. Our next meeting is August 21st, I believe, that Friday. We're definitely not doing a happy hour after that. So if anybody's going to that meeting, we'll definitely not see you at happy hour. And then just looking forward to that study and provide a lot of tourism. I think west of Richmond is going to be very beneficial. But then number 2 on Smart Scale, I want to sing the praises of Naomi real quick and all the hard work that she put together for, I know, Goochland County, and I think I've heard some other folks kind of sing her praises in past meetings. But Amy, I did want to thank you on that. So with that, Amy.
Thank you. Okay, great. Yeah, and I'll always second Naomi's praise because she did an awesome job. So for sure. So Miles, on the 3-notch trail, who is on that committee? There has been like zero communication, I think, or very little on, I guess, back to this group. So if this is a work program item, I just would like to have more information on that. And I would like to understand who external from staff participates on that. Do we have any other cycling groups that are involved in that, or what is how is this being managed?
Yes, we can send out the whole stakeholder list, and I can actually, if it's okay, Mr. Chair, I can just plan to have Phil give an update next month, and that way we can give the whole group an update, and hopefully from the August meeting we'll actually have some good information to share at that point.
Yeah.
So,
well, if there is a meeting, are those meetings open and have they been advertised?
No, it's been just a stakeholder committee for the study. So it's been the localities and some of the other organizations in the localities and in the community. Again, I don't have that list right off the top of my head, but we can definitely send that out and provide that to you.
Yeah, I would like to see that list. And I think it's important that we have external, I mean, I understand that the locality, Goochland, maybe you want to be in control of that. That's fine. But this is a very much of a regional and interregional project. So this goes beyond Richmond. And I think it's a very important corridor and project for everyone to have ground level information on and input and buy-in on, because it's going to take everybody to get this done, not just Goochland. So can you please send that out? And I would recommend that this be open up to external people.
Sure, we can send that out. I think I will add to your broader point, Amy. We do recognize that the 3-notch trail ultimately runs farther to the west. So we've been coordinating with Fluvanna, with the TJPDC, with Albemarle County. So they have been looped in on what we're doing. We've been following what they're doing. So we are very much aware that the State Trails Office is also at the meetings trying to help coordinate between the two regions as well. So
the fact that this group doesn't really have any information is concerning to me. Thank you.
Yeah, Miles, I think if update after our August meeting for the September TAC, I think would be good to give the group an overall update, but also just kind of walk through the process and what the plan is for the study.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any other questions for Miles on the work program update? Seeing none. All right. I'll move on to item number 12, agency updates, starting off with the RPT. Are they with us?
Mr. Chair, I don't think we have anybody from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
Mr. Hudson's on.
Okay. Then we'll call on GRTC.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Just a couple quick updates. Tap into Transit Day was a great success. It brought together hundreds of riders, partners, and community members to celebrate and support open access transit. To date, the event has generated more than $50,000 in revenue support, with final art sales still being processed at the moment. The event helped continue building awareness and community investment around sustaining open access transit. Meanwhile, GRTC implemented a few service improvements last month, including a new stop on the 95X Petersburg Express, and that's at Bright Point Community College. Some of you may remember we once did service Bright Point Community College on the Petersburg Express. We're going back to that, and that is expanding transit access to the campus and strengthening connections between Petersburg and the Richmond region. And then looking ahead, GRTC is preparing for a major repaving project at the downtown transfer station, with work anticipated to begin at the very end of August. The project will address deteriorated bus bays and concrete at the entrance and exit of the downtown transfer station. And it's going to require approximately 2 weeks of closure. During the project, buses will serve temporary stops nearby, kind of where the old temporary transfer plaza was. And additional details will be shared online and on social media as the schedule continues to be finalized. And that wraps up our short update. I can answer any questions if anybody has any.
Sounds good. Any questions for Mr. Robinson? All right, thank you. Ride Finders, Mr. O'Keefe.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. We've been working with Teleperformance and Rosie's at Colonial Downs in New Kent to set up meetings and discuss Ride Finder services. Both those agencies had reached out to us from mailers that we send them, on a bi-monthly basis. And they had reached out to us about, our services, our van pool, carpool options. So working with them on setting up things as well as setting up on-site opportunities as well. We've initiated outreach to the Virginia Department of Human Resource Management to discuss establishing a commuter choice program there for the state employees there. As some of you may or may not know, not all state agencies have transportation, options or commuter choice programs. So, we continue to work with them, on doing that, especially for van pooling. Did have a meeting with VDOT with Shane Sawyer to discuss shared use park and ride lot pilot and potential locations for the emerging park and ride usage trends. Apparently up in Northern Virginia, they're seeing with the data centers, a lot of construction companies, using them. They get there early. So when commuters get there, there's nowhere for them to park. So Shane and I just kind of had a discussion, about some of that in the Richmond area. And, if we've kind of seen that, we've leveraged some of our messaging around the fluctuating gas prices to position van pooling as a reliable, cost-effective, and greener transportation option. We highlighted Ride Finders' participation in the Tap into Transit Day, showing our interactive educational displays and promoting the value of open access transit and connecting people to jobs, healthcare, education, and other essential destinations. We had two people attend the 40th annual Association for Commuter Transportation International Conference in Philadelphia. Our executive director, Sharika Ruffin, and Brigitte Carter, the account executive, were both in Philadelphia for that. And I wanted to say is while we were there in Philadelphia, Ride Finders Commuter Assistance Program Strategic Plan was named the 2026 TDM Plan of the Year. So we did win an award at the conference. The TDM Plan of the Year honors a plan that demonstrates a strategic, well-executed approach to promoting alternative transportation options such as public transit, biking, walking, carpooling, and van pooling and telecommuting. And with that, that's my report. Be glad to answer any questions anybody may have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. O'Keefe? All right, thank you very much. VDOT, Naomi.
Yes, I have a few updates. The Commonwealth Transportation Board met in July. One of their workshop items was talking about the revenue sharing program. They did have conversations about how lots of the times revenue sharing project delivery doesn't meet the timeframes that are anticipated. Sometimes projects take up to 14 years to complete. So it's something they're looking into how to address. Something that they talked about doing to potentially address that is requiring technical memos and regional and local studies for revenue sharing programs. I will say that the Richmond district team reached out to our to Mr. Davis, our CTP member, and let him know that we had concerns with that. It might be a barrier to entry when it comes to applying for revenue sharing funding and so forth. So I do want to share that we are aware of this proposal and we do have concerns, and we're working with our CTP member to see how we can keep revenue sharing as an accessible form of funds for localities to get projects done. Let's see what else we have. Smart Scale, as you know, we did it. August 3rd was the application deadline. I appreciate the thanks, and I do want to give credit. My team is amazing. The only reason we were able to help you is they were helping me emotionally, whatever, anything I needed. So Todd, who's on the call, was absolutely great, and Landon, and same with some of our other team members, Liz and Catherine. So definitely a team effort when it came to Smart Scale. In the end, we got 72 applications in for the Richmond district. Super exciting. Those were all the ones we anticipated getting in, so that was great. And that's out of 293 applications. So I think Richmond district is about 25% of the applications for Smart Scale. So hoping for a good round of Smart Scale for the Richmond district again. We'll see how it goes. Right now, we're reviewing state's understanding of project scope. Those are the subs. Those are the different items that describe the specific details of each application. OIP has reviewed them. We're reviewing what OIP has put together, and then they'll come to you all for feedback as well. So hopefully we're all on the same page in the end of what the project is specifically trying to accomplish. We're also working on validation, and so you'll hear from us if we have questions on sketches, estimates, or anything like that. We'll definitely be setting up meetings and coordinating on that. Looks like a lot of our key projects, they're in the same general realm that they've been in for the Falling Trail and Parkway. So no major updates there, but feel free to check it out in our report. And we have some training coming up. So the Local Assistance Division will be having a cost estimation tool workshop. I've attended that in the past. It's super helpful if you want to get a sense of how to do cost estimations and how the Richmond district does that. August 26th from 8:15 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it's a whole day training. And then there's also a series on bridge and traffic engineering and operations plan review. I know when we had the LAP forum, that was a topic of interest, learning more about how bridge integrates into your plan reviews. So that one's September 2nd. If you're interested in learning more about that, that's just a shorter segment, 8:45 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Those are my major updates. Do let me know if you have any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions for VDOT? Seeing none, thank you, Naomi. All right, I'll open it up for any TAC member comments.
Chairman Goins, this is Sherry with Charles City County.
Yes.
I'd just like to give everyone an opportunity to join us for a 106 corridor study with Liz Byron with Kittleston and VDOT personnel. We'll be reviewing the results of that study on Monday, September 21st here at the General Administration Building in Charles City. That will be from 6:30 to 8:30. And also, we are sad to report the passing of a former Charles City County board member, Floyd Miles Sr. There will be, he will lie in state here in Charles City County on Thursday, August the 13th, and that will be from 2 to 4:30. If anyone, we'd like to invite anyone who would like to come and attend and pay their respects.
Thank you. Any other member comments? Chet?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Just a quick update, some items that CVTA has been working on that might be of interest to TAC members. I saw many of you yesterday where CVTA TAC is recommending approval of some PE funding for the Northgate interchange at 64 in Enrico. And Finance Committee meets tomorrow. One of the interesting topics there is requested recommendation for 30% design funding for the Vaughan Road overpass in Ashland. So that is going to be up for discussion with finance. And then our board meets on the 28th, where probably both of these items will be on the agenda for approval.
Perfect, thank you. And I'll make one comment that our big project, our coup de grace, the Ashland Road DDI, the bid's going to be awarded next month. We're very excited about that at the CTB. And even better, it's about 20 million under budget. So that is something that is, you know, we talked about cost estimates being a problem earlier. That's one of the, hopefully we've hit the top of the bell curve or we're on our way down, because Lord knows it wasn't sustainable. So we're looking forward to that very much. And yeah, just finally getting that big project kicked off. All right, with that, I will adjourn. Looks like our next meeting is Tuesday, September 8th at 9 a.m. It will be 100% virtual. Look forward to seeing you guys then. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.